Everyone online says you need to scale with a course. And I say, sell the damn service. I'm Emily Williams, award-winning consultant and productized offer expert since 2014. And I'm here to help you work less, make more, and stop custom building your burnout. Each week, we talk strategy, structure, and the real stories behind sustainable service businesses. You know, from service providers who like doing service work, who want to stay in service work, but also just make more money. If you're ready for all that yapping, then let's dive in. I have to say we're both bringing the fall, cozy winter energy. I don't know why I said fall. It is definitely winter. It is December.
Yeah.
Although what's the
technically
weather?
not till December 21st is winter. So
That's
it's
true.
still,
Is it
we
still
can still get
technically
away with
fall
fall.
right now?
Yeah.
It
But
snowed
it's
5
40
inches 2
degrees.
days ago here. So that doesn't compute with my brain.
I lit the first fire in our fireplace today. My littlest is home from school, so I told her, you better not interrupt me, but we might have a
That's
peek
okay.
in once or twice. But this morning we ate breakfast in front of the fire. I lit us a little fire and
I
stuff 'cause
love
it's like
that.
43, I think, today.
Yeah, I think it's 37 here. We had already an early release and a late start already, and it's December 3rd. So here we are. Tis the season.
Right.
It's why I've had my out of office. I thought I was going to have an out of office for just Thanksgiving holiday week and then just Christmas, New Year's Eve. But I'm like, you know what? December is slow to respond because it's December. And I don't know if we're going to have school. And I don't know if I need to bake cookies one afternoon. I don't know. I'm literally going to be slow to respond the entire month. And so I wrote an out of office and I turned it on a couple days before Thanksgiving because my kid was out the entire week. And I'm just leaving it on until January 8th. And I have gotten so much feedback where people are tagging me on threads and they're saying your out of office is hilarious and the best one. So if you all emailed me in 2025 in Thanksgiving to Christmas, then you probably saw it. And it's my greatest work of art.
Yeah, I love it.
I'm super excited. We were nerding out about lifetime software AppSumo deals before we hit record.
I just record. Yeah, go ahead.
No. What, you just found what?
I just recorded an episode on my own podcast about the KPI that I'm paying most attention to for 2026 is profit margin.
Yes.
So
same.
I am cutting so much shit. And if there's a lifetime deal, I'm like, okay.
I'm gonna snag that.
That's 4 months of the weather software. Let me cut that one. Let me get this. I'm just really redoing a lot of my expenses to maximize profit.
Yeah. I love that. 100% same. Another trick that because I've been having to flex the muscle this year of 2025 of not buying all the things and really being intentional and really being slower with my investment choices. And part of the things that's helped me with that is deciding to pay monthly instead of annually until that software or the tool is worth it to me, and then rolling over to annual.
Yeah, that's so smart.
Knowing at the end of the day that I'm spending more money that way. But I can't tell you how many times in the last 3 years I've been bit in the ass from an annual subscription renewing that I have not used in 11 months.
That just happened to me with Loom. I was like, oh, I can, we were talking before we hit record about all the G Suite or Google Workspace now, whatever, products. And they have one called Vids, which now does all your screen capture and everything like that. And so I
need to look at
totally fully intended to not use Loom. And then it was like, surprise, $210. And I was like, dang it.
Yep.
And I have been that girl before who's emailed the person you can go and look at my user search.
I did that
and haven't used it, so please cancel me and refund me. But with this one, I didn't because I was like, that's just my fault.
Well, yes, but it's still worth asking. I'm always in the team of it's always worth asking. That happened to me earlier this year I think it was $75 a year. So stupid cheap, but I quite literally hadn't used it.
Right.
And I was just kind of pissed that I didn't to me, I think that you should get 75 emails about your thing renewing,
Right.
and if I don't even get one, I'm gonna be really pissed about that.
Mhm.
So I emailed this software. I can't even remember what it was at this point. It was, something more for the writer side of my business and not this side. And I was like, "Y'all, you can literally look that I have not used this in this long. Um, could I get a refund? Is there any flexibility?" And they were just like, "Yeah, sure, here you go." It's like,
No
"Great,
problem.
thank you."
You know what I did that with was Lead Pages back in the day.
Oh,
Like
yes.
and it was like 300 for the year. It was the most expensive software I was using at that point in my business. And I
Yeah,
was like, "I need this back because
I
back
need that
then
money,
I was
please.
like, $300 is a big deal."
Yeah. Well, and I just did a whole software audit because now is the perfect time. At the time we were recording this is December 3rd. And so over the past couple of weeks, I've been, recapping 2025, doing postmortems, ending 2026. And part of it is an audit of all my softwares and tools because of my aim for ridiculously high profits. And I was doing an audit on like, okay, what am I paying for monthly? Do they offer an annual subscription? And is it a big enough savings for me to be at risk by being charged that amount of money and potentially being charged next year and or not using it?
Mhm.
And so there are some that I still pay monthly for because I saved like $8 and I'm like, I would like Loom. I don't pay annually for Loom. I
Yeah.
love Loom and I probably use it 5 to 7 times a week. Like, honestly, I use it all of the time. So it would probably make a lot of sense for me to do annual, but with the way that technology is changing so much and, like, if Vids gets better or this happens to roll out over here, I want the flexibility of being able to leave a software. But one of the things I did notice was that and I can't even believe I was still doing this. So, when I went out on my own, I bought creativescatalyst.com
Uh-huh.
and I made that as my Squarespace site, right? And I did it annually because I always do websites annually. Well, then like a money was super tight, and I don't know, a year ago or whatever. And so I switched everything to monthly that I could because I was just like, I just need to ease up my monthly and like everything's about to hit. And so I need to back off. So I moved Creative Catalyst to monthly. And then when I branded Sold Out Services, I bought that domain and made that as its own website as well because they're two different brands. And so I went monthly on that. Well, when I did the audit of what you can save on Squarespace by going annually, it's a lot. And when
Yeah.
I did the math, it's quite literally if I just do annual for both sites, it's like I get one for free if I
Mhm.
had kept paying monthly. And so that to me is like, okay, I want to do that.
Right.
And I'm going to be intentional about what month it's charging me so that it like all my annuals stagger and it's
Mhm.
not a cash bleeding month.
But it's funny because this intentionality is exactly what we wanted to talk about today,
Yes,
right? Like
yes,
like
yes,
actually being present with your business
yes.
and like, paying attention to these things.
Well,
So
and let me know the relationship you've had with this because for me, the reason why I haven't been present on this is because talking about money, talking about spending, talking about profit, talking about expenses makes me want to throw up. What is that relationship for you?
a little bit of both. Like, so it's that anxious avoidant, like, oh, I know there's money
Yes.
in my bank account. I know my bills are paid, but I don't know what the dollars and cents are. And if I go and look at my bank account, I'm going to have to face the fact that I spent like however many dollars on McDonald's or whatever, right? Like,
Right, whatever it is.
actually
Yeah.
face the stuff that you're spending on in your business. Maybe it's subscriptions or whatever. So some of it's anxious avoidant. And then
Mhm.
some of it's like we think we're too big for our britches a little bit, or we're beyond that because we've been in business for so long, or we've
Uh-huh.
been,
Right.
why
Well, the
why am
lights
I
are on. Everything's gonna be fine. I don't need to
right,
know.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. I I feel like I could talk ad nauseam about my relationship with money and just finances in general, but for me, and I'd love to hear your like, I know you've been in this space for a long time also, and my relationship with this conversation has changed over the years. And in my previous business, when I had a business partner, that person was much more comfortable with the numbers and looking at it and making
Mm,
decisions about that. And for 8.5 years, I let that person and like our bookkeeper and our accountant and like other people who we had in our company be way more informed than me and make decisions and have opinions and do whatever. And I was fully like check like I did not want to be a part of that. I'm going to be
right.
checked out. I am so good at making money that I don't need to talk about its existence over here. And It fucked me over in a lot of ways. There are a lot of things that I would have done differently if I had allowed myself to participate in conversations, and it's only me to blame. I'm not mad at anyone else for that. That is fully my responsibility. I am committed and was committed even when I left that space to not go down that same rabbit hole again. And then I let myself go down that same rabbit hole again for the first like 18 months of this business,
Mhm.
completely avoided all of
Right.
that data, all of the conversations. It like the second my husband would try to bring up something, it would be like I would be super defensive and it would start a fight and I don't want to and like I could literally cry because it's like that's my response to I'm uncomfortable, so I start crying,
Totally.
and I'm defensive, so I start crying, and I it quite literally hasn't been until I would say for the last 6 months, honestly, that I feel way more comfortable with having those conversations.
Yeah, it's funny, like, there's so many things that you bring up. I literally not every month because some months I'm a little bit more on top of it, but on the months where it's gotten away from me, I will make my husband body double me to pay our
Yeah,
credit card bill. I'm like, "This one's gonna hurt. I need you to sit right next to me while I pay this
yeah,
bill." Like, so
yeah.
like, have we've built in systems into our relationship to be able to do some of that stuff. Um and there was another thing that you said that I lost the thread of, but, I can't remember where I was
Yeah,
gonna go,
it'll
but
come back.
yeah.
Yeah. So talk to me about a little bit about that relationship though with your own partner. Like I know this is your business, but I also know that you guys do businessy things together. And how does that
So, yeah, we're kind of, like, probably codependent.
I
Because
mean,
we make a lot of decisions together. Like, I mean, if I'm gonna sign up for Loom or something like that, I don't like run that by him. But like we, so it was. I have 2 kids, and it's so funny because you mentioned like we've been in the space for the same amount of time. Like you and I have had such parallel tracks because like we went through our fertility journeys together. Josh and I, my husband, we had to do fertility treatment to get pregnant with my first daughter. And then my second daughter was like a total, well, I wouldn't say surprise because we were trying, but like we had no idea it was actually going to happen because we didn't have any assistance with her and stuff like that.
yeah.
So we were on our baby moon for our second, which was just an overnight in a hotel. 'Cause that's what happens with your
Yay.
second kid. Um, and we just laid out this whole, like, future. We both have always known that we're meant for bigger things. We come
Mhm.
from, I wouldn't say blue collar families, but small thinking families of, like, you go to work and you get your punch the clock and you get your pension and that's what you do kinda thing.
Yeah.
And we've both known that we were meant for more, and so we kinda laid out this whole thing, and that was 9 years ago now. And it doesn't look anything like what we said we wanted, but the fact that we kind of knew in terms of income or in terms of purchases or investments we wanted to make and where we wanted to go, the path looks very different, but we still reached kind of that destination. So
Yeah.
that's what we always do together is the visioning and the planning, the value setting, the goal setting.
Yeah.
We're very much involved in both of us in that. He pursues it in this way. He's a C-suite and I pursue it in my business, but we're still pursuing the same thing together.
Yeah, I love that because, and I've talked about this before on the podcast, and it sounds silly. I feel like every time I bring it up, but in business, I'm really good at, okay, what's the end revenue goal I want to make at the end of that year? Okay, how does that equate to each quarter, each month, each week, each launch, each client, whatever it is? I reverse engineer it all. How am I going to make that happen? And I've done that consistently for 14 years. And
Mhm.
I do it every year because it works, right? It works for me. It works for how the power of all of it coming together. And last year, when I was on my journey of committing to regulating my nervous system to have these conversations, I knew that was the issue. I knew I had unhealthy relationships with money. I was
Right.
raised and taught not very well about money. And there are people who I love dearly who are in my life right now who still handle money and have a relationship with money that is very unhealthy. And it's very close to me. It's always around me, right? And so I was finally ready to commit to owning my own responsibility of that story and being an adult now and being like, okay, yes, these things are true of how I was raised and what am I going to do differently about it now? And so I said toward the end of last year to my husband, I was like, I do all this goal setting for business, but we don't do it. in our life. Like, we'll
Right.
talk when we like are on a late night drive or we're on a road trip and we'll just kind of talk a little bit there, but it's never like this year, what do we want to do? And then how are we going to break that down? And what does it look like? And are we tracking our progress? And what do we want to change? And literally all of it. And so starting January of 2025, we made a spreadsheet because that's who I am as a person.
I love it.
So I was like, hey, we're going to make this spreadsheet. We're going to align our individual career goals,
Mhm.
our personal, family, financial goals, but also parenting goals, marriage goals, our own self improvement so that we can A,
Mhm.
hold each other accountable, but also the little woo part of me is like the
Yeah,
more time you talk about it and when you write
of
it
course.
down and when you say it out loud and like the magic of that, right?
Yeah.
And we then committed to on the first Tuesday of every single month, we go out for a beer or coffee
Yeah.
and go over that spreadsheet
I
and
love that.
look at everything.
Yeah.
And that has drastically changed my life.
Yeah. And it feels so different to have, like it's one thing, like, yeah, we parent the same or we have the same political views or whatever, but to be
Those are
like
already aligned, right?
right. But to be, like, working toward a financial future and a vision of who we are in that regard too, it to me, at least in my experience, took my relationship and my marriage to, like, a whole different level to be on the
Well,
same
and it's
when I
like
yeah.
you I feel like it opens this space for that communication and makes sometimes maybe hard things or silly things or whatever that
Mhm.
you want to share with your partner a lot easier when like "Or we're going to chat about this in 4 weeks. We're going to have a date about this. We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about it every single month." Like literally some of the things on our list are like well I'll just call my own self out. Like one of mine on my personal thing and kind of marriage was like watch my tone when I get stressed because if I'm overstimulated or stressed out, like my reaction tone to just simple questions can like have a lot of attitude behind them and it impacts like the vibe of the space. And so it's just talking about that and asking your partner like how do you think I did this month? How do I think I did? And kind of coming to terms on like what do we want to change or improve about that?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember a couple years into starting my business is when Facebook groups were really big, like, they were the
Yeah.
thing, and I taught this strategy of, like, how to become taggable in Facebook groups, so, and also, like, smartphones were kinda new back then too,
Mhm.
and so
Yeah.
Josh was like, "You're always on your phone," before
Oh
everybody
yeah.
was always on their phone, and so I literally was like, "Sit down, let me show you. So here's this Facebook group, and it's targeted towards this type of person who is my ideal customer. And the more I answer these questions here, the more I'm going to be seen as an authority." And then he was like, "Oh, well,
Oh,
then be on your phone," right? He didn't,
yes.
of course, we still try to prioritize couple time and stuff, but like for him to understand, I wasn't just sitting there like looking at cat videos on Facebook or whatever it was back then. I
Right.
was literally working and building a business. Looping him in that way changed a lot of stuff.
I lost you. And then her audio has frozen. So we're now I mean, I have it right here pulled up. She hasn't seen my message yet. No, no, I mean, I have it right and that way if she messages me oh, yeah, it's literally sitting right here, and I yeah. Let me check. No. Yeah, I don't have anything. 125. What is going on?
I don't know. Oh my god.
Like, "Oh, no, you're frozen."
Okay. Um,
None. Um,
okay, so I was saying, like, Facebook groups.
yes. And, okay, here's why you're always on your phone, and now it
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, so the second, like, we sat down and I showed him what I was actually doing, it made a huge difference because then it wasn't just like I was taking time away from him and I wasn't paying attention to him. Granted, back then I could have had better boundaries, of course. I'm not
Sure, sure.
not
We
saying
were
that
building businesses.
that wasn't what was going on, but looping him in a way that I think, like, some business owners don't necessarily do, like, they just kind of, isolate maybe, or they have their own little project, it's their own little thing, and they don't necessarily share that. Like, my kids know what a webinar is. They know,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
these things are and what mommy has to do, and I really now, I mean, they're school-aged and things like that and are in clubs and this and that, so, work time is pretty great, but, I don't take a lot of time away from family time to work.
Mhm,
I've
mhm,
learned how to
mhm.
do that, but, they still know there's certain things that I might do in the evening or might do at dinner time or something that I wouldn't normally do, and they understand what it is and what it means.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny, my kid, pretends to, like, be hosting a podcast,
My
and
kids play business. My kids don't play
yeah.
house, they play
Mm-mm.
business.
Mhm, mhm,
It's
mhm.
funny. It's
Yep.
kinda cool, actually.
She creates products to sell, and she creates a shop, and she sells things, and then she, puts on, like, an old headset, and she goes, "Hey, guys." And I'm like, "Oh, is that how I start every video? Is that why she's copying that?
I
Got
know
it."
my kids go, "Hey, welcome to my channel," and I'm like, "Oh my god."
And you don't even say that, like
I don't, but they learned it somewhere.
it's so funny. It's just the nuance of,
Mhm.
like, modern business age and
Yeah.
relationships. 100%, like, I have, historically felt really defensive in the, like, "What'd you do today?" Or,
Mhm.
"Why'd you make this choice in your business?" Or, "What's going on over here? Have you thought about this?" And it truly hasn't been until this year, as whatever that means,
Mhm.
that I have felt like, "Okay, I don't it's not because I have to explain or justify a decision or a move. It is quite literally just bringing someone else in that conversation." And, something that was also mentioned when I was talking earlier this year with my partner about spending less money and
Mhm.
investing less on things and
Yeah.
really just doubling down on what I knew was working. And we were having to kind of get because I was having a big reaction to it. I was feeling very defensive. I was very upset. And we had to kind of get to the root of like, why do I think that I need to invest in all of these things, these people,
Mhm.
these courses, these programs, these
Right.
whatever? When he's like, "You've been doing this for so long, you know so much. You have on your own done a lot of things. Like, you can trust in yourself that you can do it. You already know
Sweet.
what you need." And it was literally just like hearing that from someone that I was like, "Oh, okay, well, let me see if I can prove that right." And then I fucking did, and it was great.
Ah, this is what I was gonna say when you were kinda talking about your partnership and your experience, of, like, them kind of handling the money stuff. It's like, we're taught a lot to stay in our zone of genius,
Mhm.
right? And I feel like I'm kinda talking out both sides of my mouth because I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Like, obviously, you should operate from your zone of genius, but that doesn't necessarily mean ignore the sides of the business that aren't your zone of genius.
Right.
And for a long
Exactly.
time, we were taught, like, if you're a true CEO, you have a team member for that, or why are you still
Mhm.
paying attention to that? You're not a real business owner or a successful business owner if you're still in the weeds of your business. Like, I can literally hear certain gurus using that phrase of, like, in the
Yeah.
weeds of your
Yeah.
business,
Yes.
you know? And so it's like, I feel like a lot of us are on this journey. It's like a twofold journey. It's a journey of maturing and it's a journey of right sizing. Right?
Yes.
We're
Yes.
maturing as business owners. We're no longer willing to, like, throw spaghetti at the wall or fake it till we make it. We're stepping into this, "Oh, no, like, I'm a business owner. I'm not playing business like our kids
Mhm.
anymore.
Mhm.
Like, this is my career. This is what I'm doing for the next 20, 30 years. I'm funding a
Yeah.
retirement. I'm whatever," right? So
Yeah.
there's a maturing that's happening. And then there's this right sizing. Like, am I still trying to hit an 8-figure business, which for a very brief time might have been a goal of mine because it sounded
Same.
sexy, but, like,
Well, I
honestly,
mean, yeah.
not at
Yeah.
all. Not
No,
at all
nothing.
do I want that, right? Now, because Josh and I, my husband and I, are on the same page and we have those financial goals, I know what I'm working for and I know what revenue I do want to hit, but it's rooted in what I need and what I want, not what guru A or guru B is saying a real business is or what real business owner is supposed to. So two of those things are happening at the same time. We're right sizing, we're deciding what tech stack do I actually need? What team do I actually need if I need any? What
Mhm.
revenue and what profit? And so we're working on that. And then along that journey, we're maturing. We're stepping up into this new level of business ownership. And the key word there is like ownership. Ownership of the business, but ownership of our shit, ownership of who we are and who we want to be, our values, all of that is kind of like it's like second generation business owner or whatever you
And
wanna
I
call it.
mean, kind of,
Yeah,
and that's how it feels like for those of you listening who feel like you're still figuring this out and you're so far away from that, I'm year 14 and I'm just now feeling
11 for
settled.
me. 11
Like,
is
just now.
and it's funny because I had this conversation with my mom, not business related, but, I'm 38, so I'll share my age, and it's like I just now kind of feel like an adult. Like, I've had to function and operate as an adult, that's a whole 'nother story, but from a very young age. But I just now feel like, "Oh my god, maybe I'm an adult." Like, maybe I'm coming into my own and I'm
Yeah.
able to, like, ride these waves of life. So it's kind of a parallel process of what's happening for me in business too. It's like, oh, okay, I'm able to ride these waves of
Yes.
business. And I
Yes.
don't like the word confidence because that kind of sounds surface level. It's more like an inner, like a depth of
It's an
confidence.
inner knowing
Right.
of when you experience the cycles of life more than once, then you
Hmm.
start to understand how it's cyclical, and that
Exactly.
only comes with time
Right.
and experience and doing
Mhm.
things. I was just having this conversation in my own brain the other day because I'm sitting in this weird, not weird, but just interesting space of this year I've been overly committed to like not a toxic positivity, but, like, ridiculous delusion
Uh,
of just, like, "Let's just fucking see what happens," and then it happens, and let's do this goal and set this and then it happens, right? And, of course, I'm doing the work, like, it's action oriented, right? Everything is feeling really great right now, and business feels great. I was truly talking about this last night with my family of like, I feel like every time I turn around, there is a new door opening for me and there's a new opportunity. And it feels like I'm printing money some days. And like that is such an incredible space to be in. And my brain was like, okay, I'm checking in with my body and I'm like wanting to feel regulated because in the same sense that I don't want my self-worth and identity to be when I'm low, I don't want that to also be true when I'm high, right? We have to be very careful of that. And so my brain was like, okay, do I feel like I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop? No, I don't feel that. Okay, so that I feel really solid about the space that I'm in. And then I was just reminding myself, not in the sense of like, well, don't forget that this all comes around. So I kind of want to talk to you about this because I know
yeah.
you're a little you're woo also, and
Yeah.
like more than me in some areas. So my brain was like, yes, sit and enjoy this moment. And know that you're good here and you're also going to be good when business doesn't feel this good anymore.
Hmm.
Because I know that that's happening
Yeah.
because it's cyclical.
Right. Right. There's this maturation of the market. We're talking about maturing of as a business owner, but there's a maturation of the market that's been happening. And some of us felt it in 23, some of us felt it in 24, some of us felt it in 25. All of us have kind of had like a smack in the face of reality of like, oh, it's
Yeah.
not the COVID years anymore.
Yeah.
Right. And everybody's time frame has been a little bit different with that. But it's like along with that, I love what you're saying about the cycles. It's like, I graduated college in the Great Recession, right? Where
Uh-huh.
20% of my graduating class got a job. So it's like I remember that. And then now we're having a downturn in while I'm a business owner. And it's again, it's that you put in the reps and you almost build like a resilience and through that repetition and through that resilience, you begin to know who you are, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you begin to know who you are as a person and as a business owner.
Yeah. Do you think that it like fucks with the woo energy when you are in regulation and you're reminding yourself like you're safe here, you're good here, and remember that like even though this high won't last,
Mhm.
you're going to be okay then too.
Oh my god, there's so much woo there's woo that's happening, like, in the collective. There's a lot of energy shifts that are happening collectively, and then so on, like, a macro scale, and then, yeah, you have to understand who you are on the micro scale and how you are affected by some of those macro changes. One of my really good friends, her name's Lee Shay McDonough, she and I talk about this kind of stuff a lot, and I'm like, "Okay, what's the difference between, your intuition telling you something and your fear telling you something?"
Yeah.
What's the difference between surrender and giving up? Because those
Mm,
things they're two sides of a very thin coin, right? So sometimes when you're like, "Oh, I surrender, universe, like I trust that it's going to work out," but then you're not like you said following with action or actually doing the stuff, there's a difference between surrendering to the outcome and just plain old giving up. There's like
Uh-huh.
an old joke where there's guys like, "Dear God, please let me win the lottery. Dear God, please let me win the lottery." And then God's like, "Well, buy a fucking ticket."
Yeah.
Right? Like,
You're not even playing.
I can only do so much, right?
Yeah.
So I think that there is absolutely a sense of like, okay, I need to know who I am and be grounded in that. Like you said, don't make meaning about yourself of the lows. Don't make meaning about yourself of the highs. Like know who you are independently of that.
Mhm.
And at the same time, it's not a black and white or a binary thing. It's a nuanced at the same time thing. Still have ambition and still have dreams you're chasing and still have goals you're chasing, right? Those two things can happen at the same time. And I think holding the non-binary concept is hard for people. I think that's where
Yeah.
the difficulty comes in. It's a
Yeah.
both and.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely feel like the gut check with myself was a both and where it was
Mhm.
like, I want to do this, like, I can't believe this feels so fun
Yeah.
right now. And it feels so easy and it
Yeah.
feels so good. And I love all of my clients and I love all of these things. And even if this moment right here doesn't last forever, because that is not realistic,
Right.
that is also not how growth happens. And that's kind
Right.
of like the next layer of conversation I think that we're
Uh,
having here is like in growth, it can feel sticky, it can feel
yeah.
messy, it can feel like you're going backwards to
Totally.
then move 10 steps forward. And part of the like complaints that are happening online on threads specifically
Uh,
about like how hard business is or seasons of business, I'm like,
yeah.
babe, that you're in a growth phase. Like that's just
Right.
it.
Right.
You are having capacity signals, which as long as you do something about it, are not a bad thing in and of themselves. They are just signals of if you want to set up your business differently or price differently or restructure or hire or whatever. It's not
Exactly.
bad. It's part of growth.
Exactly. It's funny because I just talked about this on my show too. It's like there's kind of 3 areas. There's the intuition vibes only area, if I could talk. There's the metrics and data only area. And then
Yep.
there's the unhealed bullshit emotions area, right?
Yep.
And a lot of people move from one or the other. And
Mhm.
my thing is intuition vibes are wonderful. Let's have the data to back them up. I again think it's a both and. But when you're moving and making decisions from the unhealed place, from the fear, from scarcity, from like being terrified or whatever, that's when I feel like you make a business mistake, right?
Yes.
If you are operating only on intuition and not and you're anxiously avoiding the data like we were talking about earlier, okay, I think your intuition is going to take you somewhere. If you're only operating in data and you're not letting any of the magic come in, it's kind of probably going to be boring, flat, not exciting, right? But when you're operating from that third place of like one little barrier triggers so much fear, and you can't tell the difference between something that's a detour and something that's a no.
Yep.
That's when all the crap is coming in. That's when all your,
Yep.
like I said, your bullshit's getting in the way.
Well, and I feel like, at least for me personally, that is the last layer. Like, I tend to be a very, like, emotional first,
Mhm.
data second,
Mhm.
and then unhealed bullshit third. And when
Yeah.
I now know, again, because of maturation of literal my life and of business, when I get to that bullshit third layer, I'm almost through it. Like, I have to work there, and that's when I'm like, "Ring, ring, therapist, here's what I think I need to talk
Exactly.
about."
And that awareness, like, just the awareness of it is through experience because not to
Yes.
speak for you, but I would bet that in your 2 or 4, it probably didn't flow that way. It probably came the other
No.
direction, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's funny to see, because I'm in the conversation with business owners about to kind of circle back to the like, are you a real CEO
Right.
decision, whatever, whatever. I work with done for you service providers a lot. And done for you service providers, well, I work with them exclusively, but it's so easy for us to get swept into the marketing angle of like getting everything off of your plate and that's the only way to scale. And I remember, and because you've been around, I'm sure you do too. I think it was like the 2017 to 2019 era of like literally bullshit. Like if you're still checking your inbox, you must not care about scaling. If you're still on every single client call or running sales calls or in
Right.
your DMs or posting your social content. Do you remember this? When like everyone like our business was hiring like social marketing agencies like to make their content, write their captions, push it out. I'm like, bitch, do you think you're Target? Like people care about you. Like what is happening?
Right.
And I definitely feel like that veil is lifting, but I think there's so much subconscious connections we still have to, but I'm still checking my inbox.
You know
But
what just
I'm
came to
still
me is, like, it's almost like the return of the personal brand,
yeah.
because it was almost like
Yes.
I yeah, it's there's 2 things that I feel are, like, kinda coming through is, like, one of them is, like, yeah, I'm not legitimate if I don't have an integrator. Like, remember the integrator? Like,
Remember that?
where's a
Yes.
visionary? Who's your integrator? And I'm not I mean, there's some great OBMs out there. There are some great people who have that skill set. So again, this is that zone of genius thing. It's like, it's difficult to say like, "Oh, operate outside of your zone of genius." But even if you have somebody in that role, don't remove yourself so far that like there was a point in in my business, I didn't even know my passwords. When I
Yes.
drew stuff
I've
down
been
and
there.
I got rid of my OBM, or she wouldn't have called herself that, but I don't even know what we called her, but she did everything for me. I was like,
Yeah.
"How do I log into that?
Yeah.
How do I
Yes.
even access that?" Like, if
Yes.
you have removed yourself that far, that's where I think that there's the problem, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I I'm a big advocate because I'm right sizing my business right now. I don't have any team right now. And I'm
Yeah.
having to get back in the weeds and elbow deep
Yes.
in some stuff and remember how to do things and be able to be like, I don't have a heavily edited podcast. I run it through an AI that takes out like the ums and I'm like, cool,
Yep.
we're good. Right. That's
Done.
all I'm doing. But also that's bringing a human element and a personal
Mhm.
brand element back to the table that I feel like people were getting so far away from because there was this messaging of you are not legitimate or you are not successful if you're still doing that.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
and
Well, and
then
I think the looking back on that message now and then seeing where some of the people who are on the front lines of that message,
Mhm.
to see them now have completely let go of every team member and right-size themselves,
Mhm.
and now they're all talking about, team of one and yada yada. It's so frustrating being in the space for this long where you start to see you're just bullshitting something because people will pay you money for that.
Right.
And in 6 years, in 5 years, when the market's completely different, your message is gonna completely flip. And I hate that about this space, and all I can do is remain in integrity of my own message and not worry about that, but it's frustrating for me when people come to me when they're like, "Well, I've invested heavily over here, and I thought I had to do this, and I thought I had to do that," and I'm like,
Right.
no."
And again, there's so much nuance because um there's I'm just like I feel like I'm like not talking in a clear direction and I'm like, but this. But I believe that that's what business is. It's not just like a one size fits all, right? And so there is something about being able to read the market and say,
Mhm.
okay, I can see on the horizon that offers like this are going to sell. That's being a smart business owner. But I think you introduced the word that some of these people are missing, which is integrity. There's no ownership of them saying, hey, you know what? I know I taught this for a really long time and my offers are going to look different going forward because I've noticed a difference in the market and because I want to teach this instead. It's just they do this 180 and there's none of that values in between, none of that
Yeah,
integrity or that explanation in between. So do I like to see the market and see what's selling? Absolutely,
for
because
sure.
that's what a smart entrepreneur does, but you can do that with values, you can do that with integrity, and that's
Yeah.
what you're bringing
And
in.
I think, my thing is I am of the camp that what I have said to business owners as a strategy from 2012 is the
Mhm,
same thing I'm saying today. It's
mhm,
it's the exact same thing. Um, Fix your pricing, make a great client experience, boom. It's I've always talked about that. I think my frustration is I will openly talk about, and I have talked about for many years. You can go back to the podcast I used to co-host. And there were multiple times where people would ask, like, should I have a business partner? Should I turn my contractor into an employee? should I do insert whatever thing that I had done in my business, and the amount of content out there that you can probably still find on Google right now, where it's like, Emily said, do not ever have a business partner. Emily said, do not turn your contractor into an employee. It's very much one of those things of like, just because I did it does not mean you need to.
Mhm.
And unless it is very rare that you're coming into implementing that decision in the same situation that I was in. And so the safer bet is for me to tell you to not do that and not worry about it, because 99% of the people who are in my corner will never need to worry about that. And I d it's just this, like, I wish people would just have more of the personal responsibility of saying, "I did this. Doesn't mean I need to build my entire brand and marketing off of telling other people to do this exact
Huh.
same."
Yeah, it's like I used to teach this, because I my big program that that I drew down and then went a couple different
Mhm.
directions, but it was all about, like, really how to start in the online space, right? And it was a 9-month program, and it had integrity. It wasn't just like, "You can make 10 grand in your first 90 days, and here's how." It was literally like, "Here's the fundamental and foundational pieces of the business." And I talked about methodology courses, and that was, "Here's how I did it, you can do it too." And there was a little bit of an element of methodology in my program, because I would say, "Here's what I do, but there are many roads to one result,
Yes.
and what I do may not work for you because of X, Y, and Z. You can absolutely emulate some of the things I'm trying if it feels like a fit, but here's an alternative, and here's an alternative to that, and here's an alternative to that." Right? So I'm not I'm not anti methodology. I'm not anti OBMs. I'm not anti some of this other
Oh, yeah,
stuff.
no, I love an I have an OBM, I have a methodology. Like,
Right.
come on now.
But it's different when you're prescribing it as one size fits all.
Yes.
It's different when you're
Yes.
making it sound like it's mandatory, and that's the only way to be successful.
Yes, yes, and, that's exactly my shit with it, and it's not just in this space of hiring and it was what matters as a CEO, but it's everything, and and part of that just comes from I'm in year 14, and now I feel like I can spot the, like, that's a trend, that's a method, and does that fit for what I wanna learn and do this year? No. Okay, it's not for me, and, like, move on, and I don't know. There are things that we all get to decide where we spend our time and attention.
Yep,
And
and our money.
previous me and our money. And previous me was very much in the space of if I don't do that now, I'm going to be behind.
Exactly.
And now it's do I even want to do that no matter the result?
Yeah. One of my threads posts that kind of popped off a little bit was building your business with intention versus with image in mind.
Mm. Mhm.
Because and I will be the first to raise my hand. I absolutely went through several years where I was building with image in mind.
Same.
How does this business look on the outside when I share on social or wherever about my launch or the program, even down to the type of program I was running and everything. It was all rooted in how does this look to other people in this space? And on the surface, or I was probably like, are they going to respect me? But deep down, it was like, am I good enough? And am I there was a
100%.
lot of crap under there, right?
Yeah.
But now in this whole right sizing journey, right? I am a team of one right now. I'm bringing a brand new offer to the wait list in January, and then I'm having a summit in February and launching off the back of that. I've redone everything. Would I
Mhm.
like to have some sort of integrator or OBM or somebody in that role eventually? Yes, that and but the new offer that I've designed can fully be facilitated by me, one on one or at scale, because I've designed it so the same type of offer can be a one to one offer and can be a one to many offer. And so these are things that only experience would have taught me. So I can't be angry at those years that I was
No.
behaving
Right.
or operating from that way, because I learned a lesson from it, and because I'm able to take that and now in this right sizing maturing journey that I'm on, use all of that knowledge and wisdom and make something in a different way.
Yeah. Well, this episode is gonna air toward the end of January, and so your summit
Oh,
is next month. So let's
yeah.
talk about it because
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
gonna be there. I'm
yeah.
so excited.
So it's kind of a little bit about what we've been talking about. The summit is my favorite metric. And I really want to reach a couple of different people. I want to reach the people that are afraid of metrics, that have been
Mhm.
anxiously avoiding some of this stuff, as we mentioned earlier. But also the people who are like, okay, I'm all about metrics, but I don't know how to do it, or I don't know what I'm supposed to track. So we've kind of broken it down into 4 categories: lead acquisition, lead nurture, sales revenue conversions, and then lifestyle, because this is some of the stuff we've been talking about today too. You need to measure your capacity. You need to measure your energy. You need to measure your stress level, because if you're hitting all of your goals, but you're stressed the fuck out or you're miserable, it's not worth it.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. You
So,
might accidentally walk away from a seven figure company that you had built because you just, like, might end up committed if you don't.
right.
Mhm,
100%. So
mhm.
all of these things are important. They create the ecosystem of your
Yeah,
business.
yeah.
And as we're talking again about right sizing, about maturing, about rebuilding the relationship and not being so disconnected that you don't even remember your passwords, this is having a familiarity with this ecosystem, I think is really important.
Yeah. I'm gonna be on talking about my favorite metric, which is LTV or lifetime value, and I'm really, really excited to put this conversation together because in my most recent launch for Sold Out Services, the number one question I was getting from prospects or hesitation, not about the program, but like nervousness about, is this going to meet this one specific need? Because everyone, not everyone, a lot of people kept coming up and saying, I just need more leads. If I had more leads, if I had more leads, I need to get into bigger rooms. I need to be in better rooms. And I disagree. Might leads be a thing for you specifically? Yes. I would need to know what you're working with, your situation. Like there are so many things. But of the people who I was talking to, leads wasn't actually the problem. It was their conversion. It was their average client spend. It was past clients that they could re-engage and they just weren't.
Wow.
There's what I call hidden revenue sitting
Mhm.
inside of their business and inside of their network right now. And I've talked about this a lot. It's following, oh, again, my methodology of, I call it chase the breadcrumbs. And it's chase the breadcrumbs of prospects, leads, networks, referrals, community, whatever, on who can lead you to dollars, right? And I'm going to talk about it at the summit because it's my favorite metric because it's the way to inject cash in your business without new leads.
Mhm.
And that is what all of us are after. And that's what all of us want. And it's my favorite thing to do in my own business and to help clients do
Yeah.
in theirs.
I mean, it's much cheaper and easier to retain a customer than go out
Yeah.
and get a new customer every
Yep.
single time. And the way I think of it, it's like, okay, so we're having a conundrum about the word funnel right now. And when I mention funnel, I'm talking about your customer journey. I'm not necessarily talking about the
Everything
quote
is a
unquote
funnel. Like
passive
people's allergy
income
to funnel.
evergreen funnel, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But your funnel, right? The idea is you pour stuff in the top, customers find you, and then they go on a journey, and then they come out
Yep.
the bottom as a sale. But right now, a lot of our funnels have turned into colanders, strainers, whatever word you
Yep.
use for that thing. So yes, you're pouring stuff in the top, and some is coming out the bottom, but a lot of it is leaking out here.
Yep.
So more leads, does that solve the problem? If you pour more out in the top, will more come out the bottom? Yeah, a little bit, but also a lot more is going to go out the sides too.
Yep. Yep.
So
Yep.
why not shore that up, make that solid, and then
Yep.
get more leads so
Yep.
then it all
Yep.
comes out the bottom, right?
Exactly. Well, and you'll realize more for you once you protect and redefine that space, the undercarriage of it all,
Yeah.
the less leads you'll need. So, like, might you need more? Might you need different ones? Those things might still be true. But
Yeah.
right now, a lot of my prospects come to me and they're just like, I need, I need to be growing my email list 100 per month. And I'm like, you're in a done for you service.
Yeah.
Since when do you
Why?
need to talk to
Ex
100 people?
exactly.
Like, you might talk to 100 people in your entire career
Mhm.
that are eligible to convert with you. So, no. Yeah. So, I'm really excited and I can't wait for the other presentations because, I mean, I have made it my mission since 2023 to have a better relationship with data and metrics
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
numbers and make it make sense for me and for the way that I run my business and look at data. And I know that's applicable to so many people listening too. So, where can people go sign up? Am I going to have my own link? Do I need
Yeah,
to make
you'll have your own link,
Okay.
but
So go to soldoutservices.com/metric and you can grab your ticket. Um, Is it free? Does it cost?
It's
Okay.
totally free, and I do summits a little bit differently. There's no all access pass or like fast action bonus. I'm gonna keep these up for probably a year because that's the Hello Audio that I bought was a year. And it's listen to them. Go back and listen to them multiple
Yeah.
times. They're not going to disappear on you. They're not going
Uh-huh.
to go away. You don't have to buy anything to participate. I, of course, will invite you to join my offer at the back end, and I hope you do. But it's not like the summit is not this like manipulated way to wring dollars out of you. Just come and learn. Come and soak up
Yes.
what you can.
And engage. I think
Yeah.
my biggest advice as someone who signed up for a bunch of summits, both as a participant and a speaker, um, there's gonna be a lot thrown at you, right? There's gonna be a lot available at this summit or any that you do this year that you participate
Yeah.
in. Look at the lineup, pick your
Hmm.
top 3 to 5 that you are committed to watching in full and then doing something about. You can listen to all of them over the course of the year. You'll have a year. That's incredible. That's incredible access. Pick 3 to 5 that you care about the most, and if you're wanting to increase your LTV, prioritize mine. If you're wanting to look at, sales conversions, I know there's someone speaking about that. And all of the other topics. Pick the ones that matter the most for you in the next 30 to 60 days when the summit opens up, right? And listen to those in full, create an action plan. And of course, I can't speak for the other speakers. My DMs are open for you to go message me about your questions, your thoughts
Yeah, I love that.
from my talk. Obviously, I can't speak on anyone else's, but go DM me on Threads, go comment, go DM me on Instagram, whatever. If you know my email, you can email me. I love chatting about metrics and ideation and business. And I think that what have been doing in 2025, but definitely am committed to doing even more. I think one of the things that you said earlier when you didn't even know your passwords to your things,
Yeah, yeah.
I got to a point in my business where I didn't know my customer at all because I was so far removed from writing the content, creating the content, engaging in the content, DMing with people, all of it that I didn't know. And so when people were asking questions, it was this weird resentment that I was feeling because I was like, I've removed myself. Why are you asking this question? And so when I went back out on my own, I was like, I gotta get back, boots on the ground and really intertwine myself with my community again. And it's been so fucking fun to dig in with y'all and chat with y'all and get to know where you're at and also be in the weeds again because I'm actively doing done for you one-on-one work. And so it feels like this very interesting, peer and mentorship relationship sometimes because we're both offering services and then some of y'all are learning from me. But I love having those conversations. And so reach out, say hey, go hang out on Instagram for me at Emily Says, Marissa, thank you so much for being here. Please let everyone know where they can hang out with you online and continue the conversation. You have a podcast as well, so tell us all about it.
Yeah. So the easiest place to find me is just marissalawton.com. It's my name. Super easy.
My name.
It was hilarious. I don't know if it was Threads or something where you were like, somebody was like, "Hey, I know you, but I don't know your name," and you're like, "It's literally my
It's
handle."
literally everywhere.
Yeah. So marissalawton.com, you can find the podcast there. It's called The Experienced Entrepreneur. And it's conversations for those of us who are in this second stage of entrepreneurship. We're past the newbie stage, but we still need support, right? We still need to be talking about these kind of conversations. So Experienced Entrepreneur is the show. And I also have a decision dashboard that you can grab when you're there if you want to. You'll see it right in the main navigation. And that is just a really robust Google sheet right now. I may turn it into something like an Airtable something, but right now it's just a sheet so that most everybody will have access to it. I wanted it to be accessible, but it goes through these 4 categories of metrics that we talked about: lead acquisition, nurture, sales revenue, and lifestyle. And it can be kind of like your hub that you come back to every time. So you can
Nice.
always grab that as well.
Love that. And y'all don't forget to go grab your free ticket to the summit. Go to soldoutservices.com/metric and grab your ticket.
Yay.
Hey, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Sell the Damn Service. I'm really honored that you spent however many minutes you just did with me. Now, if you could go do me a very quick favor and be sure to subscribe, leave a rating and a review for this podcast over on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, or, pick your favorite platform. I'm not going to be that choosy. It truly means the world to me. It's how little tiny shows that are like mine, that are self-funded and, being edited in between dinner time and school pickup, it helps us get seen. It's free for you to do and takes just a couple of minutes. And I would love you forever. If I could send you an edible arrangement as a big thank you, I would. So instead, consider this giant thank you directed just at you for going to do that. And share this episode or this podcast with a friend who needs to hear it. I love ranting and raving about service-based business strategies. And, I think more people should listen to this show, honestly. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I really, really, really am grateful that you're here, and we will chat very soon.